me why, tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why, tell me why. Why can't we live together? How does it do that? All right. Ladies and gents, sun kissed by God's lips, you melanated beauties. We had some technical difficulty. See there? You can let it play. So we'll get this is a sun kissed by God's lips. It's determined for y'all to hear it. I'm sipping powder before you can truth. Go grab your cup. Let's get it. All right. So we had some technical difficulty. What you're seeing is our home studio. We'll see how it works. I want y'all to comment, tell me what you think, what you think is working, what you think is not working, because, we're family and we're trying to make this thing go. All right. Coronavirus. There was a lady who decided during the pandemic, she was pregnant with twins. She decided that she would name one COVID and one Corona. Y'all called it. Y'all said it was going to happen. It happened. I guess when COVID turns 19, there'll be an extra big celebration for her where Corona will just have to be virus. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on. So, we have people telling us that it's horrible and everybody's dying who contracts it and that's scary. That is scary. But I also want you to keep in mind that during this time, we've also got other things that are happening. We have people that are not only stepping up and stepping to the plate and making sure that they have people cared for, and there's a lot of compassion wrapped up in what's going on. But we also have people that are dealing in fear mongering and afraid, got people afraid to leave their house if you listen to them. So I want to talk a little bit about that. This is very serious. I'm certainly not trying to downplay it. However, about 3% of the world's population that contract COVID-19 actually become terminal and fatal. Now, 3% does not dilute the fact that these are people's loved ones and people's relatives and, friends and cousins, and those lives will be dearly lost. I am not suggesting that that's the case at all. What I am saying is when they are telling you that all hope is lost and run for the hills and how you cannot possibly feel any amount of security during this situation, you may want to look at the source of that information. And you may want to look at the fact that, what's going on is not necessarily what is really telling. Now, you have some that are saying they're not being honest about the numbers. They're not being honest about how serious this disease is. And I think that there's, as my grandmother used to say, there's the truth, there's the lie, and then there's really what happened. And I think somewhere in the middle is what we're getting. But right now they're saying over 1 million people, 1 million, over 1 million, little less than 1.1. And 3.4 of the world's population has died. Now, many of these people were elderly with underlying health problems and a lot of them are overweight. Now, we have had ER doctors tell us that some kids are coming in and they're texting and laughing with their friends, and within 8 hours they're on a respirator, or a ventilator system. That's scary. The other thing that I want you to keep in mind is one ER doctor in particular made the statement, these are smokers. So you're smoking, your lungs are already compromised. You get a respiratory infection, it would go hand in hand. We are hearing now that some people are going into cardiac arrest. Well, if your heart is overtaxed, if it's overworked, then your heart does have a very difficult time doing its job. Now, with that being said, I don't want to minimize what's going on, but I do want you to be very aware of why the United States is in this situation. But before I get there, if y'all want to know why the United States is in this situation, I want you to share this video and then comment and say shared, so I'll know that you shared, and that way I'll be able to know for sure that you want me to tell you why the United States of America is in this situation. Go ahead and share it. When I come back, I'm going to tell you why the United States. No, yeah, I know y'all thinking, oh, we know why, because of Donald Trump. Well, yes, but I'm going to tell you what Donald Trump did. Share this video, comment, share it, and we're going to take a quick commercial break. A word from our sponsors, and I'll be right back. I'll tell you why in just a minute.
Do you want to find a stable job in a growing field? IT jobs such as network systems administrators, cybersecurity, programming, cloud, and computer systems analysts are expected to increase 25% by 2022. Texas Premier Technology Institute offers training for top certifications such as CompTIA, Cisco, and Microsoft in less than 12 weeks. And if you're unemployed or underemployed, you may qualify for free tuition. Contact TPTI at 1-888-49...
Go to the next one. Hey, y'all. It's not working? We'll get it worked out. Okay. Next one. Next one. Next one. All right. Okay. Y'all see we got some production situations, but we will work it out. We will work it out. We will work it out. All right. I told you if you shared this post and you typed shared, then I would tell you why the United States is in the situation that it's in. All right. Did y'all share? Y'all go ahead and share so I can tell you why. Y'all know y'all want to know. All right, let me tell you. So the United States of this great America, make America great again. Well, Donald Trump, yes, the orangutan running the three-ring circus from the Oval Office, has done it again. He did it again. He has effectively given us the middle finger yet again for a foreign nation. So Donald Trump sent 17.8 tons. I can't even imagine how much that is. Tons of donated medical supplies to China to combat coronavirus very early 2020. Very early 2020. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that the personal protective equipment, PPE, that the doctors are saying and the nurses are crying out that they need in order to effectively treat these patients went to China. Yes, that is what I'm saying. It went to China. It went to China to the tune of 17.8 tons. Here's the thing. I have a friend. Actually, he was on the show when I came on in January when I was at the other studio before the coronavirus crisis. And he says he knew that he had coronavirus after this hit. He had it in November. He went to the hospital. If I'm not mistaken, he was one of the ones that went to the hospital. He said it felt like he was drowning. Elephant sitting on his chest. He talked about how rough it was. They thought it was the flu. They sent him home. It was not the flu. Okay. He recovered at home, and glory be to God, he recovered. A friend of his commented that her son had it in December. Now, people were starting to feel the effects of the coronavirus in December, but they said it was in China. But there were multitudes of people that commented on his post saying they too had it November, December, and January. Now, the United States knew the end of December that there may be a case in the United States. Okay, but let's talk real dates. January 21, the coronavirus hit the United States that they can, beyond all uncertainty. They know they can prove it. And that they knew about the devastation of the disease in December, Donald Trump and them. But on January 21st, a 30-year-old Washington State man visited Wuhan, China, and became sick. January 21st. But they knew in December. And in early January, all of our equipment, because let's talk about this for a second. You have reserves, you have stockpiles that they have. So ventilators, there are stockpiles of that. Things that you may need during a what? Crisis. You guessed it, boys and girls. Very good. During a crisis. This does constitute as a crisis. So he didn't think, because, technically orangutans don't do analytics. But the problem with Donald Trump, and I want to pause there for a second, is not that he doesn't do analytics. The problem with Donald Trump is he doesn't hire people who, Bush said, I may not be that smart, but I hire people that are. Donald Trump, because he's a narcissist, I'd be remiss if I didn't use and an idiot. He doesn't typically allow for people to come in with new, fresh ideas. He's a little bit more open now because I think that upon reflection, he realizes he doesn't know diddly squat. Donald Trump can't pull P out of a boot if the directions are written on the heel. I doubt if he can spell MGM backwards. And I'm just being honest. So we're in the state of affairs that we're in because, one, he didn't have a pandemic response team. The team that Obama had in place, he let go. Now, the truth of it is he let them go because they were Obama's people. Let's just keep it 100. He let them go. But the other thing is he didn't have sense enough to realize that during this time, he would need people to feel, you know what, you don't like Obama's people? Fine. Push them out the way. But he didn't put a team in place at all. That team would have been able to say, well, wait a minute. We don't know what the effects are going to be. Perhaps we don't need to send 17.8 tons in early January. So when it hit us, January 21st, that we can confirm, we were already behind the 8 ball. But let's go a step further. January 7th, a press release from the State Department. The agency announced that it was prepared to send up to $100 million to assist China as the number of COVID-19 cases and deaths continue to rise there. That's January 7th. We knew it was in the country on January 21st. If it's spreading in China, because Lord knows I've never been to anybody's medical school, but I can think my way out of a paper bag. And if it's here in January, late January, January 21st is confirmed the man dies. If we know it's here, then why would we send $100 million to China and not think that we may need some reserves? If it's spreading in China, why wouldn't it spread here? February 28th. Well, let me go back to February 7th, because I think this is important. The day the press release went out, Trump tweeted that he spoke with China's president and that China would be successful, especially as the weather starts to warm and the virus hopefully becomes weaker and then gone. February 28th. Trump was speaking to a group of people, you know, the Trumpers, in Charleston, South Carolina, where he claimed that the coronavirus was merely a Democratic hoax that his rivals were politicizing because they hate him. Say what? So, you know, this is just a little background. I want to catch y'all up. The reason we're in this state of affairs is because Trump never took it seriously. But you know that. Granted, you know that. But the problem is, then Fox News started saying it wasn't real. It was a hoax. I understand that there's some articles out there that I suggest, you know, in your downtime, because, you know, y'all ain't got nothing to do. You should read them, where Fox is terrified that they're going to be sued by people who have lost loved ones during the coronavirus pandemic because they said it was not true, was not real, was not a hoax, and did not suggest that people protect themselves. So now Fox is scared that they're going to be sued. And there are a lot of people that are talking about whether or not that they can actually sue Fox simply because, you know, they're saying it's not a crime to get the news wrong. Well, okay. Let me use some Florida Coastal School of Law logic. It is not a crime to get it wrong. But quite honestly, you can't knowingly say something that causes harm to another person. Now, I'm just throwing that out there because I'm sure it's a lot more legal minds that are far greater than I that are actually practicing law and successfully. So I'm not suggesting that I know more. I'm simply saying the law does not allow you to do that. And because the law does not allow you to do that, I'm sure they're going to say without a smoking gun, without Fox saying we knowingly knew that it was real and we said it was a hoax because we wanted to hurt people, they won't be sued. Well, I don't know. I think that's for the trier of fact, which is a jury or a judge, to make that determination. I know that Fox they got a lot of money, and I don't know what a class action lawsuit would look like. But I know if you watching Fox, then, you know, you probably not the sharpest knife in the drawer, and iron strengthens iron, but I've gone too far. You also relying on that information to be true, to be accurate, to be credible. And so if you didn't take necessary precautions because the news told you it was a Democratic scheme to further bastardize and victimize Trump, and you didn't do anything, well, I don't know. I think an argument can be made, but I mean, on the other end, they watch Fox. Who cares? Let's talk about some things that are going on in Dallas County, because that's where we are. And I know people are sending me things from all over. Dallas County Health and Human Services reports 100 positive cases in Dallas County on this past Wednesday, including the county's 14th and 15th deaths. Dallas County DHHS says that they want people to be careful. Here's the thing that I want y'all to talk about. Shopping cart handles and gas pumps. I know a lot of people are wearing gloves now. That's great. But there's a way to take the gloves off. I've seen people pull the gloves and use their fingertips. Don't do that. Pull the glove from here and peel it off and then throw it away. You want to make sure that that is how you're doing. And I know a lot of people are trying to wear protective gear And what's happening is you guys are not removing that protective gear correctly. There's a way to take it off where you literally shed it from the shoulder, step all the way down and out where you're touching the inside of it. You're peeling from the inside. So you want to be careful about that, because if you're not doing it correctly, then you are contaminating yourself. So, I want y'all to be careful. I want y'all to be careful with these gloves that y'all are trying to use. I've seen y'all doing it wrong, and I'm here to help. Not like the government. I really am here to help. The other thing that I want y'all to be careful of is wiping too much with Clorox. Get some hand sanitizers. Alcohol is great. Don't wipe too much with the Clorox. Like y'all are wiping your hands and your arms. It's Clorox. Let's keep that in mind. Okay? I'm throwing that out there for y'all. So here's the thing I want to talk about. This is a respiratory infection, right? Like very serious bronchitis. Respiratory. Okay? Breathing, not bowels. Why are y'all continuing to buy about toilet paper? It's gonna affect your breathing, not your bowels. Okay? Not your bowels. Your breathing. I just want to throw that out there. So leave some toilet paper. Here's the thing I want to mention. Elderly who are only buying groceries once a month and then little things throughout the month. When we buy up everything, we are really putting our elderly in a situation. They're suffering. There was an article with a woman who is an elderly woman. She's looking and there's nothing there, and she was in tears. So those of you that can, check with your neighbors, see what they need, see what, if anything, you can do for them. In Turkey, in the country of Turkey, the police are going around to the elderly and asking them what they need, and grocery shopping for them. I think that is tremendous. I think that is extraordinary. And so with that being said, we want to be mindful of the people that we can help. So I want to talk about some things that are going on. The Navy. I want to talk about this train. If y'all want to know what's going on with the train that tried to take out the U.S. Navy Mercy Hospital, then share this post, comment. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and I'm going to be right back. But share, comment. I want you guys to tell me that you want to know what we're talking about, because this is a family affair, and I want to be able to know that you are that you're with me in this thing. And so share this post, comment that you shared, and then we'll talk about the Navy, because I want to make sure I'm talking about the things y'all want to talk about. Okay, so share this post. We're going to take a quick commercial break, probably 30 seconds or so, and I'll be right back. This is Core with your Black Tea Sip, where we sip power to pour truth in a minute.
Do you want to find a stable job in a growing field? IT jobs such as network systems administrators, cybersecurity, programming, cloud, and computer systems analysts are expected to increase 25% by 2022. Texas Premier Technology Institute offers training for top certifications such as CompTIA, Cisco, and Microsoft in less than 12 weeks. And if you're unemployed or underemployed, you may qualify for free tuition. Contact TPTI at 1-888-490-TPTI or check them out on the web at tpti.us.
Is it playing? Oh, okay. Next. Go to the next one. You can't see it. Good. Next one. Next one. All right, and we're back. Y'all, thanks for working this through with us. This is our home studio, and we are working out some kinks. You know, I can't go into the studio because of coronavirus, and you know, we had some sound check issues the last time that I was trying to make sure we worked through before we came back. But I missed y'all. I hope you missed me. And so we're back. This is your girl Coy with your black tea sip. Let's talk about what else is going on with our great government. So, you know, we had a Navy ship that became infected with coronavirus. And so it was the USS Theodore Roosevelt. And the man that was commanding that naval vessel was Cozier. And he came out and said that he believed that there was an outbreak of coronavirus on the ship and that he needed to dock and get those people taken care of. Well, he was relieved of his position. By Wednesday, there were 93 positive test results, and more than 1,000 people had departed the ship into isolation on our territory, U.S. territory of Guam. In total, 2,700 people are expected to disembark the ship this week, and with similar crew remaining on the ship. So they recently relieved him of his position because he spoke out. So now he's become a whistleblower. Trump and them have fired him, and now you can't even try to protect your people. You know, when we start talking about what's wrong with the government and why we're in the situation that we're in, I don't see how anybody in their right mind, and I have some people that I'm friendly with that are Trump supporters. Let me be very clear. I don't know how you're in your right mind and you support Trump. We're in the situation we're in because, as a recap, 17.8 tons of protective gear was sent to China early January in the United States, and $100 million was sent to China. And now we don't have what we need. Did you see at Sinai Hospital, Mount Sinai, Hospital, they have created a plexiglass box that they're putting over the patient's face. The doctors have created that because they don't have protective gear. One ER doctor whose father is a contractor gave him a painter's mask with a filter. So now he's walking around the hospital looking like Predator. We've got nurses that are devastated, and we've seen them repeatedly on Facebook because they are in tears and they're afraid for their own lives. How are you supporting Trump? How is this possible? How are you allowing yourself to support Trump? Okay, I don't want to get on my soapbox, although I have it really handy. I have it handy. Let's talk about so I found out something. So I don't know if you know about this guy, Alex Jones, who is he's a right winger. I don't know that he really supports anybody. But he is, he's kind of a wackadoo, okay? And I found out about Alex Jones about 12 or 13 years ago when he was telling people how to prepare for certain things. You know, there's always just like a sliver, a scintilla, a grunion of truth in what he says, and then he goes way off. So you can never really take him and digest him wholly. Well, Alex Jones has this thing. I didn't find out about it until I saw a tweet. And the tweet was talking about an engine. The U.S. Navy ship, okay, was there to take care of people who are not infected with COVID-19. And so he decided that because it's this Alex Jones following. Now, I didn't realize, y'all, I had no idea that this was going on. Supposedly, there is this conspiracy that Hillary Clinton, George Soros, who's a huge donor of the Democratic Party, and some others, and this man that owned Common Stock, a restaurant, were involved in child pornography and a child sex ring. And it's called QAnon, QANAN. Okay. So people started talking about when this tweet came out about this man and running the train off, Eduardo Moreno, 44 years old, said he thought that it was suspicious that the ship was docked there in the New York port. And so, I'm sorry, California port. California port. And he thought it was suspicious. So he decided that he would take his train and run it off the tracks into the ship because he felt like it shouldn't be there. Now, this is all based on this QAnon that is Alex Jones that says that the Democratic Party, Hillary Clinton specifically, and George Soros are involved in kiddie porn and child sex ring. These are the Trumpers. These are the Trumpers. These are the people who support Trump. So Eduardo Moreno says that the train crashed into this is what happened. The train crashed into a concrete barrier at the end of the track, smashed through a steel barrier, a chain link fence, slid through one parking lot, and then a second lot filled with gravel and hit a second chain link fence before it stopped and passing under a ramp leading to the Vincent Thomas Bridge. The train remained in that position until Wednesday. I know we keep losing our feed, y'all. I'm sorry. Just stay with me and we'll get it figured out for the next time. So because of that, this is unbelievable. This is absolutely unbelievable. Because of that, he then decides that he cannot hit the ship. The ship that's there to take care of people who are not infected with corona. Okay? These people are not infected. And the people that are not infected, by his standards, do not need to go to the hospital because it's suspicious. This is suspicious. Heaven help us all. These are the Trumpers. These are the people that support Trump. So Eduardo was off from the ship. He wasn't close to the ship. He was something like 256 yards away from the ship when it stopped. Unbelievable. This is what we have going on during a pandemic. These are the things that people are doing while the rest of us are trying to stay safe, take care of our loved ones, homeschool our children. I know I keep losing the feed, so y'all stay with me. Come back. To that end, I want to talk about homeschool for a minute. Let's talk about homeschool and what's going on there. So Zoom, a lot of people are using Zoom and they're getting Zoom bombed. So last week, a friend of mine told me that she was, her sister and her niece were homeschooling and they were Zoom bombed. That's before the news. You don't always get this stuff before the news even comes out with it. I don't know. You know, it's a family affair, I guess. So I get this information before it even comes out. And she says, no, this is not funny. Now, you know what? I should be ashamed of myself. It's not funny. This is not funny at all. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, it's kind of funny. This little boy yells into the screen, I know y'all want this D. Come on, who want this D? Come get this D. The kids are horrified. The teacher is like, oh my God. Because he had the nerve to pull down his pants and expose his little worm. So the little worm is out there on the Zoom bombing people. And the poor teacher doesn't know what to do. The kids, oh, everybody's screaming. You know These kids will come up with anything. So the principal comes on and the principal is saying whoever's doing this is going to be dismissed from the school and yada, yada, yada. Well, in truth, it was not a student at all. And I'm trying to figure out why the principal thought that the student would come on and do that. They were Zoom bombed. So they interviewed the president of Zoom. And the president of Zoom took responsibility, which I appreciated. He's in San Francisco. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get myself to go. He's in San Francisco. And he was talking about how they should have prepared better. You do have password enabled capabilities. You can only have certain people come into your chat or into your room and bar everyone else. So these hackers are coming in. Well, you know what? I want to be fair. I really appreciate that he took the responsibility and the accountability for that. And but I want to say this. This happened so quickly, nobody was prepared. He said that what they should have done is made sure that everyone took a tutorial and made sure that everybody went through some kind of practice session. But, to be fair to the Zoom people, I don't think that was possible simply because this happened so quickly. All the educators and administrators were trying to get the class online, get people, to where the class could be seen. And I think that it's admirable that he took responsibility because we have a federal government that's not. And so if you are, and I'm not going to get a dime from Zoom. So please don't take this because my kids don't even use Zoom. They use Google Meet. So Google, I know from my past healthcare experience, Google will give you a business associates agreement. I suggest that if you are a parent and you are concerned about the information that's being captured, you want to talk about that, y'all share this. And then type share so I know that you shared it so that we can talk about that. I want to talk about the things that parents should be aware of if your child is homeschooling and using one of these systems. But I want to make sure I'm talking about the things that y'all want to talk about. So share this post and then comment, share so that I'll know. But let's talk a little bit about the Zoom bombs and the things that have affected people. And then we'll go back. If y'all want to talk about this and you say share, then I'll know you want to talk about the things that parents should be aware of if your kids are participating. One of the things that Zoom Bomb is doing is they're going in and they're using racial slurs, whether you're Jewish, whether you're African American or Black, and it has significantly impacted people. So, the thing is they continue to find ways these psychos continue to find ways to hurt us even during a pandemic. And it just shows the level of mentality that people have even in a time of crisis. So there's a Black man that is president of the National Realtors Association, and he was Zoom bombed. And in his being Zoom bombed, they called him the N-word. And I don't know why we say the N-word. They called him a nigger. An Nigger, not A-H, with no love in it. And then it was exposed and they wrote all over the screen and everything. So that's hurtful, and that's it's debilitating. It's diluting because this is in a time that people are really hurting. So I want you to be mindful that we're doing these happy hours now through Zoom. I'm scheduled to do one today. Hey, check this out. Did y'all know that you can do a Netflix extension and that you can virtually watch a movie with your people? So I'm doing one today. I'm going to tell y'all about that next week and tell you how it goes. So we're doing a happy hour and we're watching a movie like we would if we were together. So shout out to the Netflix people. I know Monique is not happy that I'm saying this, but I'm doing what I can do. So it's another way for us to communicate and get together. So I want people to be aware that you do have the capabilities to stop people from coming into your chat on Zoom. And that's something that you need to explore, even in your happy hours and your Netflix extension. I haven't used it yet. I'm going to tell y'all about it next week. All right. I want to talk about kids. And if you have kids, I have several friends like, Chad, don't be telling me about a kid. Well, my babies are still in school. That's why y'all old people and I'm young and virile, I'm the little kids keep me young. At least that's my story and I'm sticking to it. So, okay, here we go. I used to work for UT Southwestern, like 100 years ago in the compliance department when we were building it up. And one of the things I was exposed to is FERPA, which is the federal law, which is like HIPAA about what information can be exposed to whom and that kind of thing. So FERPA laws should apply here. Okay, they should apply here. You should absolutely know what information is being captured about your child. And then from a school perspective, how it's going to be used. So if your child is using Google Meet to engage with the teacher and other classmates, Google Meet runs analytics. Google Meet, who is a principal in Arkansas, and they are using Google Meet. I think Google Meet is better than Zoom. They're better prepared. You can get a business associates agreement for those of my friends that are in healthcare from Google, where they protect the privacy of healthcare information. They'll do the same for FERPA. So if you're a parent, you can just reach out to Google, send them an email and ask them what are their FERPA law standards your child is in, or how they're complying with FERPA law. Let me put it that way. Your child is using Google Meet and they will provide that information. But here's the other thing, and you might want to mention it to the school, what the school is doing to protect that information under United States federal FERPA law, FERPA, FERPA law. So here's the thing. Google is capturing this information for analytics. This is how your younger children are getting their class participation grades, I'm assuming. I have not been told that specifically from my kids' teachers, but as a former educator myself, fourth generation teacher at that, and for somebody who works in compliance, has had the opportunity to work on both the education side and the healthcare side simultaneously when I work for UT Southwestern. These are things that I know that they do. So you are entitled to your child's record, the information is being captured, and that information is being stored in the cloud so that teachers can review and so that principals know what's going on. That's information that being captured about your child, and you want to make sure that you understand how that information is going to be used, and you want to make sure that you understand how that information is being captured and stored to protect the privacy and identity of your child. Okay? All right, because I always want to leave y'all with something, because we sip power to pour truth. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back. Let's talk about some things that are going on. I want to talk about I want to give an excellence award. Y'all haven't had the dildo of the day award in a long time, so we're gonna do that real quick. We're gonna take a quick break. Y'all stay with me. I know we're having some technical issues. We're going to work through them, and then we'll recap some of the things that may have been lost during this time. This is Coy with your Black Tea Sip. In a minute, stay with me.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. That's our job.
Let it play, and then we're going to do the sponsors, and I'm going to come back.
Tell me why, why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
Hello, all you melanated beauties, sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Coy with your Black Tea Sip. I'm sipping power to pour you the truth. Go grab your cup. Let's get it up.
Sponsors. We gonna get it worked out, y'all. We just have
to find a stable job in a growing field. IT jobs such as network systems administrators, cybersecurity, programming, cloud, and computer systems analysts are expected to increase 25% by 2022. Texas Premier Technology Institute offers training for top certifications such as CompTIA, Cisco, and Microsoft in less than 12 weeks. And if you're unemployed or underemployed, you may qualify for free tuition. Contact TPTI at 1-888-490-TPTI or check them out on the web at tpti.us.
Producer.
Do you want to find a stable job in a growing field? IT job.
Go back to the first one. First one. The book I Am by T.H. Moore is actually a really good read. I know y'all at home right now and you're trying to figure out what to watch and what to read. It's a really, really good read by T.H. Moore. And I interviewed him on the first show in January when we came back under a new sponsor. And I know under a new station, and I know y'all had difficulty hearing him. So we're going to bring him back because he's very insightful. And it's a great read in your downtime. My ex-husband recently told me that he was tired of waking up because he was at home. You know, we're all kind of quarantined at home. And he said he was tired of waking up. And y'all comment and let me know if that's what's going on with y'all. Are you tired of waking up? Sit down and find yourself dozing off. I've had several friends tell me they dozing off during the meetings. Y'all should do like my son. My third grader said when he felt himself getting sleepy, he went black. I said, you went black? He said, yeah, I turned my camera off. He's in third grade. Okay, but we got that corrected. Yeah, we got that. We got that all straightened out. All right, let's talk a little bit about our connections and what's going on with us at this time. I know that it's a lot happening in the world, and I know that it's scary, and I know that we are trying to get through this. I want to recap a little bit because I know we've been having problems with our feed, but you know, there's over 1 million people that are infected worldwide. There's something like 7.8 billion people on the planet. So that's less than 1%. And I am not minimizing this. I am certainly not saying that this is not serious and tragic. What I am saying is that the fear mongering that's going on, I don't want you to succumb to that. I don't want you to find yourself afraid to leave home. And a lot of people are getting a lot of anxiety about this. And so I really want you all to be focused on the facts. And I'm certain to a degree we have, I'm sure to a degree we do have people that are not giving us the whole story, especially from the federal government. That's a fact. But you know, we have 3.4% of the world that have become terminal or fatal. And so I don't want you to get stuck on, because they're saying that over half the people that get infected, that's not true. But smokers are at risk. People that are obese are at risk. And then the elderly are at risk. And I know that we've had a lot of kids that have passed away. I don't know about every kid. I've certainly not done a survey, but a lot of kids smoke. So this is also a time I talked about earlier before our feed broke. This is a time for you to get healthy. Wealthy is healthy. So your wealth is wrapped up in your health. If you can't, there's no amount of money that can fix your body when it's broken. Okay, so we can start here now today, walking, meditating, and starting to eat right. And so I talked about that earlier, and I think I'll do a post about it. All right, I just wanted to throw that out there. The Dildo of the Day award goes to Eduardo Marino, who, if you were not here with us, he took a train and intentionally drove it off the tracks, trying to hit the U.S. Navy ship, the Mercy, that is actually docked to take care of people who are not corona stricken, but ill, people who may need to have babies. Speaking of babies, I talked about this earlier, but I'm not sure if our feed broke. And y'all said it, and we begged Lord have mercy. We begged y'all not to do this. We begged y'all. We pleaded. A woman had twins uh, yesterday, and she named one child Corona, the other child COVID. When COVID turns 19, I guess they'll go all out, and Corona will just be a virus. But Lord help us today. You're looking for something to watch. Amazon. There are some shows people have been asking me. Amazon Bosch is good. It's great. Sneaky Pete is a good show. It's one of the things that I watched before this happened. So I know that, you're looking for stuff and y'all are blazing through certain series. It's great. Ozark. Oh my God. I'm no spoiler alert, but I really, 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 really want to talk to you about Ozark. So please comment if you start watching Ozark. If you're already watching Ozark, would you please comment? Let me know. Because I don't have anybody to talk to with my movie, but my TV buddy has not been able to watch it. You know who you are. Has not been able to watch it. So the third season, so we can't talk about it. But I'll recap. I'll do the first or second season because Ozark is the bomb. So if you're looking for something to watch, Bosch on Amazon. Amazon. Sneaky Pete on Amazon. Netflix. You want to watch Queen of the South if you like a drama, and you want to watch Ozark. All American. I started watching that, and that's just something to do. But outside of just having something to do, it is allowing me to see some Black folks. I'm starved for seeing y'all. I really want to connect and I want to see y'all. And we really want to make sure that. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. We want to make sure that we seeing us. So I started watching All American. But it's us, and I mean it holds a little bit. The Godfather of Harlem, you're right. I forgot. Godfather of Harlem is good, and I did watch it. Is the new series out? Is it out yet? Because it's good. It's good. So y'all check back with me, and I'm gonna tell you what to watch. I'm a TV person. I like to read too, so I'm gonna start telling you about books to read. But TV. I think we are watching TV, right? Aren't we all watching TV? Okay. Films on Netflix. Uncorked is good, and Spencer Confidential. Now, Uncorked is a Us movie, so it's not a drama, but it's good, and it's about wine. It's a brother that wants to be a sommelier, which is a wine connoisseur, and teaches people about wine when they go into the restaurants, and it's worth an hour and a half of your day. It's not bad. And Spencer Confidential. So it's also really good. Listen, I am certainly not going to tell you that America is okay, not yet. He said Godfather Harlem's not out. I appreciate that, brother. Not out yet. But that's another good one. It's on Epics. And if you don't have Epics, you can go to Amazon Prime and I think it's like $5, and then you get all of the epics. So, with that being said, all right, I want to talk about some stuff that's going on in other places. Turkey, I said it earlier. I don't know, our feed broke. Turkey is going around. The police officers are going around to the elderly, and they are asking them what they need, and they're shopping for them during this pandemic. The Philippines president, Rodrigo Duterte. He in the shanty towns where they're the poorest, since they've been on quarantine for COVID, they have not had food. They're very food insecure. The grocery stores are not providing food. They can't get food shipped in. Very food insecure. And so because of that, they have started protesting in the streets. So to hell with the quarantine, we hungry. I understand. And so he said, because I keep telling y'all the orangutan in the Oval Office, this running 3-ring circus, but then you hear about these other presidents, and I'm using that term loosely. It's more like dictators. Excuse me, more like dictators. No, I don't have COVID. I'm trying to swallow the tea. All right. He said, I will not hesitate. My orders are to the police and the military, also with the village officials. If there are troubles or occasions where there's violence or your lives are in danger, shoot them dead. He's talking about the protesters, and he's talking about the people who are protesting because they're food insecure. They don't have food since they've been quarantined, and they've been quarantined a little over 2 weeks. That's my producer and my engineer. He doesn't have COVID either. That was a sneeze. Because I know y'all about to click off. My friend said that he coughed and his mama hung the phone in his face. She didn't even want to get it through the telephone line. So y'all about to click off because y'all saying we got the COVID. We don't have the COVID. We don't have it. So the orders came after residents in the Manila, Quezon City shantytown staged a protest. They've gone hungry without food or relief supplies that were promised when the lockdown began more than 2 weeks ago. Listen. Yes, the orangutan running 3-ring circles is actually trying not to lock us down. I'm going to talk about this a little bit, and I want to talk about relationships. Y'all let me know if y'all want to talk about relationships. I'm certainly not the Dr. Ruth of relationships, but I don't really have any problems in that area, really. So I want to talk about relationships while we're cooped up, or while we don't have the opportunity to really talk to one another. So if you want to talk about that, right, type share this post, and we'll talk about that. But so I believe, this is when I get my soapbox, and this is your Koyism for the day. I believe that this is going to change our way of life the very same way that 9/11 changed our way of life. And a lot of people came out and were considered conspiracy theorists. And I don't mean conspiracy theorists like Eduardo Moreno, who tried to run the train off the track because he was trying to take out the ship because he said it didn't look right. Let me pause there for a second. There in Common Stock is a restaurant, and there was a guy who went in with military weapons. I talked about it earlier where they were saying Hillary Clinton and George Soros had a kid pornography sex trafficking ring, and they were running it out of the store. You got to be careful what you say on Facebook and social media and what we share. They went into this store. They had been getting death threats and crazy calls for weeks. He went in with assault rifles, 2 pistols, and God knows what else. Walked all through there looking for the kids he thought he was going to free. And it reminded me of Edward Moreno, although Edward Moreno does get the Dildo of the Day award. And I want y'all to be careful about what you're sharing and what you're posting, because we know that even with this COVID crisis, there is a lot of information that's being shared that's not true. I've even fallen prey to it a couple of times. I had a friend say, hey, this is somebody I know, blah, blah, blah. And then I got down to it. They didn't really know the person. And I shared the information, and it wasn't true. It wasn't accurate. It was based on the truth, but it wasn't the full kit and caboodle of the whole thing. So I want to be careful about what we share, because even in this case, where this man's life had been devastated because they decided that he was running a kiddie ring out of his pizza parlor. And so they said, if you order this pizza, then you would be able to order up a child instead of a pizza. I mean, it's ludicrous. These are the Trumpers. But we want to be careful about what we share and what we spread, because I've seen several times where half the people that get corona die. And that's not accurate. That's not true. At least that's not what they're saying. Let me say this, Black folk. Y'all know I'm stuck on this a little bit. When we go to the doctors, black, white, green, purple, they are all trained to believe that we do not know enough about our bodies to tell them what's wrong with us, what's hurting. I remember when I was a teacher, I had an inner ear infection, and the room started spinning for me, like out of control. They had to wheel me out of the auditorium in a wheelchair, and I was like 22 or 23 years old. And I told my dad took me to like urgent care because it was after hours by the time I got home. And I told him something was wrong with my ears. And I told him, I said, my stomach's real upset and the room is spinning. And so he decided it was something wrong with my stomach, and I had a stomach flu. And I kept saying, no, it's not my stomach, it's my ears. Because I had sense enough to know that my equilibrium was off And that's what was causing the dizziness. It wasn't until I got to my doctor that was like on a Friday evening, and I got to my doctor that Monday morning. So I suffered all weekend. My room was spinning out of time, and I just had a really bad case of vertigo. But you don't know what's happening to you, because at that time I didn't even know anything about vertigo. Well, the long and the short of it is, my doctor trusted that I knew what I was talking about. And I said, there's something going on in my ears. I think it's my equilibrium. He said, you're absolutely right. Well, I'm saying that to say there's a young man in Michigan that died. He was just going to graduate. And I'm not calling his name right now. I will start to call names, but I'm trying to give families opportunities to deal with the loss before I start talking about it on my show. And that's just out of respect. But the point still is that a young man who was graduating this May from school, well, they said in one more semester, so I'm assuming that it was this May, he died. And he died because he went to several hospitals and he kept telling them he believed he had COVID because of his symptoms. He was turned away, told no, and was never administered the test. They never gave him the test because they assumed he didn't know enough about his body. They train medical professionals, doctors and nurses, that we have a higher pain tolerance. So when you go to the doctor and they say, what's your pain level? And you say it's a 10, they assume it's at a 5 or a 6. When this guy said, I'm assuming, what's your level of pain? Can you breathe from 1 to 10? How are you breathing? And he says, I can't breathe at all. I'm at a 1. They assumed that he could. He was finally admitted into the hospital after he became critical and put on a ventilator. He could not breathe independently. And he became terminal and he transitioned. This young man never should have died, except for the fact that they were not going to waste a test on him because he didn't fit the criteria. So I'm saying this to say, when you go to the doctor, whether it's during this pandemic or any other time, you need to advocate for yourself. And I'm going to say, if it's possible for you to go with someone, you make sure they are the person that can advocate with you and for you, because they are trained not to listen to you. That young man died, and I'm sure there are other Black people that have died because they didn't get the proper care at the proper time. Because this ailment, this virus, this disease is not, and I guess I couldn't call it a disease because it's a virus, is not necessarily fatal, but we know it's fatal if you don't get the proper treatment. So with that being said, I want you all, if you feel ill, if you're not feeling well, I want you to advocate for yourself. I want you to demand the test. Demand that you get the test. Because it's not just about, you getting well. It's about the health of the people that are around you. Right now in New Orleans, they are being hit hard. I want everybody, a moment of silence in your quiet time to pray for the city of New Orleans and the state of Louisiana, as we are doing every place. But New Orleans has been hit so hard. They are still trying to deal with Katrina. There are several people who came out of Katrina with PTSD. I know people that are affected when it storms and rains. Everyone does not have the money or the resources to go to a psychologist or a counselor of some sort. So we need to be lifting up the city of New Orleans, because there's a lot of us there. I'm certainly not saying don't pray for everybody. I'm just simply saying it's a lot of us there. And so right now, the housing authority in New Orleans is running even slower. I've been told that it is drastically dysfunctional. You have people that are living in their cars right now, or having to pile up with other family members because of the delay due to the pandemic. And now people are homeless in New Orleans. So we're talking about the same people who survived Katrina. And the death rate there is extraordinary. I think it's because of Mardi Gras. I want to give the Black Excellence Award. This extends to every healthcare worker, whether they're Black or any other race or ethnicity. You're on the front lines. Everybody's working in the grocery store, sanitation people that's picking up the trash. These people are on the front lines in ways that we don't really think about. But I really want to give the Black Excellence Award to Mayor of New Orleans, LaToya Cantrell, who is dealing with an extraordinary situation. I think because of Mardi Gras and the groupings of people and the gatherings in a way that has not necessarily taken place in other places other than New York. I want to give a shout out to Mayor Como, who is really trying to hold his city together. But the Black Excellence Award does go to LaToya Cantrell, who I believe is doing some great things and and standing her ground and is holding people accountable and is actually trying to get the best resources. She has said in Dallas County, let me say this, we're testing 500 people a day. In New Orleans, she said that's not good enough. We're going to test everybody because you do have people that are asymptomatic like Idris. And then his wife got, if he has it and you know he has it, especially if you're pregnant, why are you all up under him? Okay. Sometimes we can be real stupid. But I want to give that award to her, and I want to give a shout out to will certainly make it back and bounce back through this. Okay. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna talk about relationships. A lot of us are dealing with separation anxiety. A lot of people are dealing with anxiety of all kinds, but we're not able to have relationships, hand holding, hugging, kissing. So let's talk about that. I'm gonna take a quick commercial break, and we are going to come back and let's talk about relationships. Thank y'all for working through this. We're having some technical difficulty, but this is Corey with your Black Tea Sip, and we'll be right back in a minute.
I'm not saying
The
I'm
next
gonna rule the
one.
world, or I'm gonna.
Do you want to find a stable job in a growing field? IT jobs such as network systems administrators, cybersecurity, programming, cloud, and computer systems analysts are expected to increase 25% by 2022. Texas Premier Technology Institute offers training for top certifications such as CompTIA, Cisco, and Microsoft in less than 12 weeks. And if you're unemployed or underemployed, you may qualify for free tuition. Contact TPTI at 1-888-490-TPTI or check them out on the web at tpti.us.
Next.
Do you want to find a stable job in a growing field?
My son is filling in as my engineer, so we're gonna get it worked out. All right, so let's talk about relationships for a minute. Listen, we're doing all kinds of virtual things. I told you I'm gonna do a virtual happy hour with some of my sorority sisters and good friends. And we're doing the Netflix extension. I said before I hadn't used it yet, but I am going to use it today in a happy hour. And we're going to watch a movie. I don't know what the movie is yet. I don't even know who's picking the movie. And I'm not going to lie. I do have a little anxiety about that. And I'm not a very anxious person ever. But what I cannot stand is a boring movie. But hopefully we'll get something good. We're going to all watch it together, drink our libations, and try to have a virtual connection. And I know a lot of people have been using FaceTime and other things and really trying to have some form of connection. Even the little kids, the room mom for my third grader and I got together and decided that the kids needed time to talk and interact absent of the teacher. So now they have 10 minutes before or 10 minutes or 10 minutes after class to connect. so that they can spend that time together, because this is difficult from connection. But I want to talk about relationships for those people that are not married but are used to being with one another, seeing one another, that kind of thing. um Even those of you that are in the house together, I've seen several memes where people are talking about you're going to find out how your husband or wife really feels about you during this time. And it's all ha ha funny. But the truth of the matter is that we don't do a good job of really effectively spending time together. That too is an art. We talk about, do you really like that person, spending time with that person? Let me say this. And again, I'm not the Dr. Ruth of all relationships. I'm certainly not. What I am going to tell you is that that I know we're having some technical difficulties again, y'all. I apologize. We're going to get it worked out. For some reason, we keep losing our feed, so I'll continue to repost it. So if you're wondering what I'm doing, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to make sure that we continue to post it so that you'll get it. And then we'll try to repost it as one solid show. Hopefully we'll have the ability to do that. With that being said, okay, look here. Some of y'all really get on people's nerves. Some of y'all can be a little wearisome. So I know that guys are now, so my boyfriend's people are spending time together golfing, and they're golfing virtually with one another. And a lot of the wives are saying, you playing that game, and it can be annoying. Now I'm not gonna lie, it absolutely can be annoying. They are right. But the reason I'm bringing this up is what we don't do a good job of as women. We don't find things to do. We don't find our own time. And so a strain comes during these times where you have to be together and you're in close proximity, or you can't be together and he's doing something else other than talking to you on the phone or FaceTime or whatever it is that you desire. And this can go both ways now. But typically as women, we don't find things to do. And if he's playing Madden or virtual golf or whatever it is that he's doing, lifting weights, find something to do. Start a book club online. You can use Zoom. Make sure you don't get Zoom bombed where the little kids are coming in there showing their little worms. But find something that occupies your time once a week, a couple of times a week, so that you too have something going on and you're not bothering him. Or if you're a him and you're not bothering her with this time, set time within the calendar. You're working, your significant other is working. Find time, designate that time on the calendar or whatever, 8:00 at night on Tuesdays. Let's watch X, Y, and Z. A lot of people are spending time together, binge watching. Well, that may not work for both parties. So schedule that time so that you're not at each other's throats, because no one can really escape at this time, at this point. And we find ourselves typically in these moments watching too much social media, reading about all the bad stuff that's happening, and not necessarily effectively communicating with the people we need to communicate with. And you don't want to stay on the corona tip. Your whole conversation should not be about corona. Yeah, I know it's on the forefront of all of our minds, but that's not where we want to live. It can cause depression. Clinical depression is going to be something that people are going to deal with. And so you don't want to break down in your relationships where you in one room and your significant other is in the other room, because y'all now getting on each other's nerves. Find ways to deal with that. I know people that are cooking together. Let me ask you this, because I'm real curious about this one. What are you non-cooking people doing? Like, how y'all living? How y'all getting through? Like, text me, share with me what y'all doing. My mama says she doesn't trust a skinny cook, and the only skinny cook she trusts is me, because I can cook, because I love to eat. But me and my kids been experimenting. I made some taquitos the other day for lunch. We've been doing other things. I'm just wondering, what are y'all non-cooking people doing? I'm curious. You got a friend that can't cook. How are they doing, child? Are they making it? Um, so let me throw this out here for new non-cookers, men or women, and you're having to get a lot of takeout. That can be expensive. Let me say this: a crock pot. You can get one from Amazon. They still delivering. It just be a little slow. A slow cooker. You can put any kind of meat in there: chicken, pork, beef, and just cook it slow. And you don't really have to do nothing to it. Really, just salt and pepper it and make its own juices. I'm just trying to help y'all stay married, stay with your people. I'm just trying to help y'all. I want to suggest that you also spend time reading something other than Corona, like I said. But in all these self-help books, that's a lot. A lot of people are reading self-help books. That's great. I'm certainly not suggesting that you don't need help to improve yourself. I'm not suggesting that. I am suggesting that you you that you spend some time getting getting some other things on your mind. Okay, that's all. So if self-help is your thing and you with the Oprah Book Club, that's fine. What I am suggesting is that you read something else. You want something that's going to take your mind away. You want something some light or dramatic or frivolous, because these are really heavy times and I don't want people to get stuck in these heavy times. This is going to be a hard time for a lot of people to get beyond. I told you people do have PTSD. There are going to be people that have PTSD from Corona. I think the lady who named her children Corona and COVID, I think they're going to have some PTSD, but I've digressed. So I want y'all to start spending some time. If you are in a house with someone and they too like to read, start sending them little articles. Send them little funny things, the memes and things, little, tweets that are light, because we are in a really heavy space and you want to lighten it as much as you can. And I'm certainly not saying make light of it. I'm simply saying lighten the moments, because the news is heavy. Social media is heavy. Our conversations are heavy. We're sharing all of the negative, the death, the dying, the destruction. Let's make sure that we also are sharing some things that try to help us clear our minds, that try to help us take ourselves out of those spaces, so that we can be whole. I'm concerned that we as Black people will not necessarily get the care that we need. I'm also concerned that we as Black people are typically used to putting things behind us, having to just deal with it. It comes from a plantation philosophy where we just had to survive. And so we're in a situation where we're having to survive and having to get by. And I don't want to see y'all stuck in this space. So if you can't cook, baby, let me tell you, you can get anything from social media. Okay. Even recipes. Look at that. Who knew? You can get some recipes and start to find yourself with your significant other in the kitchen, with your kids in the kitchen. This is a good time to not bury your head in the sand like an ostrich and sitting in your room or your office and you're working all day. Find time to spend with your kids, because you know what? They are also going through a rough time because they can't go out and play with the homies. Listen, I got a text message from one of my third graders for the parent asking, would we be willing to drive by and blow the horn and wave at the baby for the birthday? Baby, they trying to get their kids' birthdays. Baby, this is rough. So if it's rough for you, it's rough for your kids. I don't want to see anybody's relationship start to dwindle down because y'all can't be in the same place together. All right. Now, I talked about that. I want to talk about people who cannot be together. I saw where a friend was saying she had elderly parents. I do too. My parents are 80 and 85. So I had to be very careful about what I exposed them to. And I saw somebody saying that they were not going to see their boyfriend. They were not going to spend time with that person. I hope your relationship can last, child. I really do. I ain't never seen her with nobody. I didn't even know she had nobody, but kudos. Who knew? With that being said, I'm not sure if that is truly the best way to go, where you never see that person. Now, I ain't saying y'all supposed to get together and have a drink or whatever, but If you're on your way to the grocery store and you swing by and you wave, sometimes it's just a little note, something in the mailbox from that person, from that person. I know y'all are texting. I know y'all are FaceTime, but I'm trying to help you keep your relationship together. Okay. Cause see, people who are bored now, they on social media a lot more now, and they looking at your boyfriend or they looking at your girlfriend, and they talking about, hey, it's some boys out there to my, hey, boo, you looking good. How's things going? How your COVID quarantine going? I'm trying to help y'all, child. I'm trying to tell y'all how to hold on to what you got, because you don't want to come out of the pandemic without your man or without your woman. So you're going to have to work a little harder. You don't want to suggest that every time you call them, they're not available or what you doing. Don't gripe. Look here, women, let me help y'all. Ladies, please don't start griping. Don't start complaining. Well, how come every time I call you, you're not ever available? Dudes, don't do that passive aggressive stuff when she call you and you send up to them, what's up? Nothing. I called you. What you do today? Look, everybody trying to get by the best way they can. This is a very difficult situation. Don't do it, because you're gonna come out the pandemic alone, all by yourself. I'm just saying, perhaps you can drop some food off and wave from the driveway and say, hey, if you're uncertain about whether or not they're asymptomatic. But I think that there needs to be, in a relationship between men and women, there should be some connections. I know people are not seeing their parents. People are not seeing other people that are significant in their lives. So let's do a little extra, a little card in the mail. Because y'all going to the grocery store anyway. There's always a card at the grocery store. Just pick up a little card and drop it in the mail on your way home. People like to get things in the mail. Trust and believe. And now some of y'all don't check y'all mail, so you have to tell them. And it may not be the mail. Maybe you just need to do something a little extra, because we in a situation. That's all I'm saying. And you don't want to come out this situation with a whole nother situation. I'm just saying. All right. I want to thank y'all for working with all the stuff that we had going on. We had some technical difficulties. We'll get it together. I want to thank everybody who has reached out and told me you missed the show. You wanted us to come back. We are certainly trying to come back in a way where we can talk and communicate and share some things. I hope you found this enlightening. I hope that you'll come back and see me next week from 11 to we're going to end a little early today. It's usually by 11 to 12 to 1, but we're not taking the same breaks we used to. So I'm talking a lot, and I like to talk. So I want y'all to be healthy, stay healthy, and stay mentally healthy, because this is a lot, and I know a lot of people have anxiety. I have a friend telling me she waking and baking. I mean, do what you got to do, child. Whatever that is that makes you feel better, don't be ashamed of doing that. Because, if you feel like laying in the bed and binge watching, and you watch 4 hours of television, I don't think you should feel bad or be ashamed of that. Okay. I want to recap real quick before I leave, because I know we had some technical difficulties. Amazon Prime, good shows to watch. Bosch, Sneaky Pete, and Godfather Harlem. You can, if you don't have Epics, you can get it for $5 on Amazon Prime. Netflix, Queen of the South. These are my recommendations, okay? Queen of the South and Ozark. Oh my God, Ozark. Please, please, please. If you have watched season 3 of Ozark, I'll go back to season 1 or 2 with y'all. But if you have watched Ozark season 3, please hit me up. Hit me up on the Black Tea Sip page. I'd appreciate it. Films Uncorked. It's a us. And Spencer Confidential. It's, with Marky Mark. And All American. I'm watching that now on Netflix. It's a us show. So, I'm starved for us TV. All right. This is Coy with your Black Tea Sip. I want y'all to hit me up. Let me know how your coronavirus quarantine is going on. Tell me about funny things that are happening. Good things, bad things, anything in between. We want to hear from you. We sip power to pour truth. And we're going to sign out now a little early. But this is Coy with your Black Tea Sip. Leave it there. This is Coy. I want to thank my producer, Zon. I want to thank DJ Drizzy for the intro. And this is Coy, your creator and host of the Black Tea Sip. We'll do it again next week. Diamonds, Pearls, and Jerry Curls. And we out.